Welcome to Roadtrip WDW. I'm your host, Rebecca Schlau. This is episode 24, and I'm going to hopefully wrap up the last of my trip review from our last trip in December. And yes, I do know that we are now February 1st, and I'm talking about something that happened 2 months ago. But y'all, I've just been really lazy, so give me a break. So if you recall, our last episode discussed the most expensive day ever, where I went to the Christmas party and then a party within a party, did lots of fun stuff. So I'm picking back up where I left off from the last point. And so the next day after the Christmas party, I did allow us to sleep in. And this is something I've continued to tell everyone. But if you have a late night the night before at Disney World, it's going to be a good idea to give yourself a break the next morning and not plan another super early morning. Now, if you recall, I got us up really early for an early morning magic at Magic Kingdom the day before. Plus, we stayed up really late for the Christmas party. So I knew I really didn't want to rush it. I intentionally planned this to be an Epcot day. It made a lot of sense because I love the flexibility of walking to Epcot whenever we really felt like it from the boardwalk. So we could just stroll right over there, which was really nice. And again, one of the main perks of staying at one of those Epcot area resorts. So we stroll on over after we wake up and get ready. And I can't exactly remember what time it was, but it wasn't like early morning. It wasn't rope drop. I mean, it was somewhere just maybe a little bit before lunch. And we may have had a ride or two. I can't really remember what all we did. The first thing that I'm recalling, though, based on my pictures, is I know we went into the Land Pavilion and we went on Living with the Land. And this is a little gentle ride. You get to see a few cute little scenes, like ride scenes. And then you go through a lot of greenhouse areas of Disney World, which is really cool because you do get to see them growing fruits and vegetables and different plants. You get to see some fish and some stuff you're going to eat at Disney World. Now, I'm not saying all the food comes from this pavilion, but the stuff's edible, and it goes over how things are farmed, agriculture. It's really educational, but it's really cool. My kids love looking at everything, so it's really neat when you can identify like a fruit growing, like, oh, there's pineapples growing, and oh, there's bananas, and here's corn, and it's really cute. I really like it. And if you look up, there's one section of this ride, Living with the Land. If you look up, you can see the restaurant that we were about to go to called Garden Grill. Now, Garden Grill is a restaurant that I'd heard a lot about before, but I'd never actually gone. One of the things I heard about it is that it's a rotating restaurant, like the actual restaurant kind of moves. So I was a little bit nervous about that with my motion sickness issues, but I really didn't have a problem with it. It moves really gently. It really didn't feel like it was moving. The only time I could tell it was moving is if I look out and see the different scenes I'm passing by. I mean, it was going really slow. So it really wasn't a big deal for us. And I think while I got our table, I was waiting for the rest of the group to get off of Soarin'. I think we had a fast pass for Soarin', and Noel and I went ahead and went into the restaurant. Now, with Disney restaurants, they really don't like to seat you without your full party being there. And so I feel like I don't know how I worked my way in there, but I was like, oh yeah, they're getting off Soarin'. And they're like, well, your table's ready. And I was like, oh. And I think they begrudgingly agreed to sit me and my son down, which was great, and I'm very thankful. And I would not assume that they would normally do that. And it was kind of stressful because we'd had a fast pass, but they still got out late for Soarin', because that ride, even if you have a fast pass, you still have to wait in quite a bit of a line to get on the ride. So I mean, it took them 30 minutes. Even with a fast pass to get off that ride. So that made us a few minutes late for our reservation. Now with Disney restaurants, they allow you, I think, 10, 15 minutes for a dining reservation before they cancel you. Luckily we weren't there. We weren't that late, but they did seat us before before the rest of the party was there, which was really nice because that means Noel and I could get started on some of the food, and we ate some salad. I really, really like their salad at Garden Grill. It's interesting. It's kind of an Italian-y sort of salad, but there's a ton of olives. I don't like olives, but I found out my son Noel loves the olives, and so he was eating them, all the olives I could get. I mean, he could not eat these things fast enough. He was enjoying it. They, at Garden Grill, they bring all the food to you. If you haven't, I guess you kind of gathered that. They brought me salad. So they bring you salad and bread, and they bring you big plates of yummy food. And so this was lunchtime, and I think we got like this big platter. It like comes in a big skillet, and it's like good old Southern comfort food kind of. You got your turkey and dressing and green beans and mashed potatoes and maybe like a corn succotash mix with, there was some cranberry sauce, and I think they had like prime rib slice or like flank steak sliced up. It was all really good and kind of like down home cooking. So we really enjoyed that. I believe afterwards we may have done a few little rides. I think at some point we did Spaceship Earth and maybe just walked around, maybe did Soarin', maybe did Figment. I can't really recall because it's been 2 months and I kind of dropped the ball on this. But we ended up going back to the hotel so the kids could take a nap. I think my husband actually took them swimming, and I decided I wanted some time alone at Epcot. I love walking over to Epcot by myself. I hate to say that is such a joy in my life, but it's such a joy in my life when my husband watches the kids and I have free time at Disney World. I really can't wait to go on a trip by myself. I know I'm going to miss my kids when I do that, but it's just so much fun. So I was able to explore a little bit. I was also planning on meeting up with some of my favorite all-time podcasters. Those of you who haven't heard of them already, there is a couple of people, Rhonda and Jeremy Stein, who run this podcast called Main Street Magic. It's part of the Capture the Magic community of podcasts. So they have their own individual podcasts, and then some of their friends have this other one called Capture the Magic podcast. And then together under that banner, the Capture the Magic community has several different podcasts. And so I'm a huge fan of them. And really, realistically, these days, that's the only podcast I really listen to because they have so many different shows. They have a Trip Tell show that goes over just trip reviews from Jamie Lee. Her husband, Jared, and the other podcaster that I'm going to meet up with, Jeremy, they do one called Diz Dudes. They also have this like little exclusive group that it's kind of like a Patreon account. So like people like me who are just obsessed with Disney World, we pay our favorite podcasters to join more of an exclusive group. And this is just a really good, friendly group of people who, it feels like they're my friends. I guess they're my fake friends. They're my internet friends. But it's like, I swear we feel like we're friends. It's like this really close-knit community. And so I'm part of this close-knit community. And since several of us were going to be at Disney World at the same time, they went ahead and planned like a little meet and greet at Epcot. And one of the things was, this was the night that we had planned to go to the Candlelight Processional. And this is just a show that goes over the story of Christmas. It's always got a celebrity narrator. And for this show, I think there's like 3 shows a night, like 5:30, 7, 8:30, I don't know, like that. But the narrator for this one was Neil Patrick Harris. And I keep hearing from all Disney World people that Neil Patrick Harris, NPH, he's the one you want to see because he is a true lover of Disney World and he just does a great job. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to see Neil Patrick Harris do this Candlelight Processional. And it is a show that's offered kind of in it's like a state, it's not an indoor seating area. It's more like an amphitheater seating in the American Pavilion of Epcot. And you could wait in line to get seats, but the only way to really guarantee you're going to get in to the show is if you do a dining package. So you pay for some sort of dining at a restaurant, either, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And then with those come your tickets. So you're going to pay a little bit more than you would just paying for regular dinner. But that was what we did for lunch. As part of the dining package for the Candlelight Processional, we did Garden Grill, which I just talked about, for lunch. So it came included. What I didn't realize, though, until I joined the Capture the Magic community and Club 32, was that even though we had guaranteed seats for the Candlelight Processional because we bought the Candlelight Processional dining package, you still really needed to get there super duper early. You have got to get there early because the good seats fill up fast. And most people ended up getting the dining package to see Neil Patrick Harris. So there's a line just to get in, even though you do have reserved seating. Now, the reserved seating is pretty much all over. It's not just for this one special area. I mean, pretty much the whole stadium or amphitheater was filled with people with the dining package. So, yeah, you could get a seat, but it doesn't guarantee you a good seat. So we had our little meet and greet in the beer garden section of, well, it's kind of like a beer garden section. I guess it's probably not actually a beer garden yet. It's going to be. It will be. That's upcoming. But we met right outside the American Pavilion. And one thing that was really cool, okay, everybody's going to think we're weird for this, but Jeremy and Rhonda, the hosts of the other podcast I listened to, they went the year before and they dressed up real fancy, like wearing a suit and like evening gown. Like they went for it. And they posted the picture and gave a shout out to Neil Patrick Harris on Twitter. And I think he tweeted them back and called them out on looking good. So I just thought it would be such a great idea to keep that tradition alive and dress up fancy. And sure enough, bless their hearts, Rhonda and Jeremy Stein, they drove down from their home of St. Augustine to go to the Candlelight Processional too, which was the same time we were going, so we could all kind of meet up and go together. And then we dressed up. I didn't wear my fancy clothes into the park. I actually brought a bag with them, but I did go change so that we could all be fancy together. But I think they wore their clothes inside. Like Rhonda had a beautiful green dress and wintry beautiful shawl, but she was wearing some heels, and I know those were uncomfortable. And Jeremy, there he was in a nice suit. Everybody was looking good, y'all. We were styling and profiling. Now, keep in mind, it's just me. My family is still asleep, but we decide, I think it was close to 3:30, we went ahead and got in line for a 5 o'clock Candlelight Processional show. And which was fine because a lot of us, what you could do while you're waiting in line, one person could leave the line and go get a drink, and we were all just chatting, so that we kind of had our meeting in the line, which was great. And they were so kind and so thoughtful. One thing that really freaked me out was I realized that I had not grabbed the tickets to the Candlelight Processional. I'd put them in the stroller. Well, remember, we're going to get in early, and I didn't tell my husband to meet up until, I didn't know, but like 4:30, 4:45, and the show started like 5 or 5:30. I can't remember. But anyway, he timed it out where he was going to get there just right before the show started, and he thought I was going to go ahead and get seats for us. Well, I didn't have my ticket, and you're supposed to have a ticket to get in. Like, they will not let you in without your ticket, even if you like try to show proof or something like that. I won't go into specifics, but I did get in and we did get seats, and Jason came shortly thereafter, and then we all had tickets. We didn't do anything wrong or illegal. We didn't sneak in under false pretenses. Everyone had a paid seat and paid ticket, but let's just say I ended up getting in without my ticket necessarily showing, but I did have it on my phone just in case someone needed to check it and to verify that I was who I said I was, and I did have a ticket. So we watched the show, and now it's like a beautiful orchestra, choir. This is a big production of just different Christmas musics, the Christmas story. If you are someone who loves going to musicals or like going to the theater or going to see an orchestra and you love music, like live music, this is great. They played beautifully. And they played all the Christmas songs, like every Christmas song that you would want to hear. I'm thinking like traditional songs, like traditional stuff you'd hear not just like at church, but like, the versions, the musical versions of all your favorite songs on the radio. So it was beautiful. It was awesome. However, my kids, they didn't like it as much, and it wasn't that they didn't like it, but I think they were just tired and they had to sit through something. And so it was kind of a little bit more stressful for them, but it was so cool when Neil Patrick Harris came out, being this close to a celebrity. We were all like, yay! And the best seats are going to be towards the middle, inside middle seating. And you don't want to be up towards the front because then you can't see the stuff on the side, because there are some different musical pieces that they'll have like these long trumpet player people play from the side. And if you were sitting in the very, very front, you would have to like move your neck to see them. I mean, it'd still be fun. Like, it really depends. If you're a huge, huge Neil Patrick Harris fan and that's all you cared about, I mean, the front row seating would be where you need to be. But if you want to see the whole show, like without having to strain your neck, get towards the middle center. But the show is great. The music's great. Here's a little excerpt of some of the music. Okay, so I mean, I know that's kind of quiet and y'all couldn't really hear it, but you get the hang of it. So it was really lovely for me. My kids kind of laid on me. All three of them at one point were like literally laying down on me. So that was a little frustrating that they didn't seem to be as enthusiastic as I was, but I was so happy to see it. And again, I had a great time catching up with Jeremy and Rhonda, and I actually met a few other of the listeners. I hate to call them fake friends. They're not fake friends because I actually met them this time. So I was able to connect and meet some of these people that I've been chatting with for several months. So Tom and Sharon, it was lovely to meet you, and hopefully I'll run into all you guys again. Now, after the candlelight processional, it was time to go get something to eat. And we really hadn't planned anything, and I think we were looking to kind of sit down. We were all dressed up real nice, and so it would have been nice to just sit down for a little bit and enjoy each other's company. And we didn't really have anything in mind. At the very last minute, we were walking, I think, through the Italy pavilion, and we stopped at Tutto Italia Ristorante. Now, I really hadn't heard much about it. I may have heard a few sparse, favorable reviews, but it seemed like I could have sworn people were like, go to Via Napoli instead. Via Napoli is more of the pizza place that gets more of the attention. But this place had immediate opening, and we were hungry like right then. Right then we were hungry, and they had like immediate opening, so it was just perfect. So we went and sat down, and it's just a beautiful restaurant. It's a little bit nicer, but it's casual, so you're not going to feel too stiff if you're in there with shorts. However, we were dressed to the nines. We were dressed very fancy, so we looked a little off, actually. So much so that I went ahead and changed when I was in the bathroom, because I was wearing like a ball gown, kinda. I mean, I was fancy. My poor husband had to keep his suit on, but he looked good in it. So we checked out the menu. One of the first things I did to keep the kids happy was I went ahead and bought them like a little kiddie cocktail. It was called a Primavera Splash. So it's like it's a virgin daiquiri for kids. It's a frozen strawberry, banana, and peach slushy. And y'all, it was really good. Our kids loved it. It was so good. They ended up drinking it all, and then we're like, can we have more? I'm like, no, sorry. It was $3.50 a pop. I did have ulterior motives here, okay? Because I really didn't want to spend too much on buying 3 separate kids' meals. So if I fill them up with other stuff like slushy ahead of time, then I don't have to spend as much. Plus, I kind of wanted to eat some of their kids' meal as well, because the kid entrees look pretty good. So for the kids, I went with the spaghetti and meatballs, which was a pretty good sized portion. So much so that I made the kids, all 3 kids, split the kids' spaghetti. I got the tortellini, which was so yummy, y'all. It was so good. It was cheese tortellini, prosciutto, peas, parmesan, creamy sauce. Y'all, it was so good. And you just know they make all that pasta and that sauce so fresh. It was so yummy. I did share a little bit with my family when they asked, but I didn't share much because that was mine. My husband, from what I recall, his tummy wasn't feeling that great. So I think he stuck with something little and just got like the beef carpaccio. He kept it simple and then ate a little bit of our food as well. Now, the kids' spaghetti was really good. I will say it wasn't just such a overly red sauce. And I think they must have put enough Parmesan cheese. So when you mixed it together, it seemed more like like a pinkish rosé sort of rosé, like a vodka sauce kind of. Like it wasn't just all red tomatoey. It had a little bit of creamy Parmesan involved, and it was really good. So I loved eating their leftovers. I was really happy that they didn't. So keep in mind, we are a family of 5. We do have small kids. We did not buy 5 complete meals. We bought 1 adult meal, 1 adult appetizer, and 1 kids meal, and then we bought kids slushies. And those kids slushies, of course, we spent, $12 on all of that all together for those kids slushies. But for us, I mean, we did pretty good. I mean, we do this. We save our money. We don't overdo it when we go out to eat because Disney World prices are very expensive, but we also don't overdo it at dinner because we don't really want to bring home to-go boxes. Like, if I'm going out to eat here to Chili's with my family, I don't care if everybody gets their own entree because I can take the leftovers home. It's no big deal. Here, you don't want to bring home stuff, so I'd rather leave a restaurant still feeling a little bit hungry because that means I have room for a Disney snack. And y'all, I love my Disney snacks. So I say don't overdo it when you're at Disney. Don't overfill. Don't overspend. At dinner, y'all split stuff. Another fun thing about this restaurant is, I think I've said before, is that at the restaurants in Italy and all around Epcot at the different World Showcase pavilions. So like the France pavilion, Italy pavilion, American pavilion, obviously, the China pavilion. Everyone who works there is actually from that country. So all of our servers were Italian. They all spoke fluent Italian, and they were so sweet and good with the kids. It was really cute. I forgot to mention that they do give you a lot of bread to begin with, which was great because that kind of helps supplement the kids' appetite. My kids probably would have been fine with that slush and some bread. Like, they really could have been. So the spaghetti was just a bonus for them. But overall, it was a wonderful meal at Tutto Italia. Like, I can't wait to go back. I would highly recommend it if you like Italian food. They also had some really good food we didn't order. Like, they had some more meaty options. So if you're not really a pasta person, it looked like they had something, I don't know for sure. But I think I saw something like, they have a veal shank, the ossobuco. They had braised short ribs. They had like a filet, I think, maybe sea bass. They had grilled shrimp. They had salmon. They have, it wasn't a filet. It was a New York strip. Now I'm looking at the menu. So they had like other stuff you could eat if you're not a pasta person. Because my husband, he's not the biggest Italian person. He doesn't really like pasta as much as me. So there were some really great options had his tummy been feeling right and he wanted other things. He could have had a great selection of different sort of steaks and seafood that he could have chose from. So after that, I believe we took a few pictures by some of the fountains out there in the Italy pavilion. And it's night and it's dark. It's beautiful. I head right back on over to the Caramel Cuccia. I've already told y'all what I call this store. The Caramel Cucci store. Whatever. I don't know how it's pronounced. I do not speak German, but whatever. I went to the caramel store in Germany and I got more caramel popcorn, more caramel butter bars because I am a glutton and it tastes so good. And as we're walking, okay, this is just weird. As we're walking towards, I don't know which direction we were going. I think we were going towards the Mexico pavilion from Germany. All of a sudden, I saw a familiar face. I saw my friend from back home that I went to high school with, Morgan. I was like, hey, Morgan, And sure enough, it was her. So she turned right around, and she was there with her whole family. So it was just so random because I know her whole family too. So it was just so random to see them and their kids and their family. So we took a little picture. Then we headed for, I believe we went to Test Track, and we had to take turns. I think we had a fast pass, but we had to take turns because, my son can't go. So my son and I went to the Mexico Pavilion. And there is a little bitty ride inside the Mexican pyramid thing. If you go in there, there's restaurants, there's lots of cool things to go. I mean, you got to go inside of it. But at the very back of the building, when you go inside, there's this little ride, and it's, the Grand Fiesta Tour with the 3 Caballeros. And I've probably talked about it before. It's just another little, very gentle boat ride, kind of like Small World, but not as long. But there's a lot of similarities between it and Small World. There's one section that looks straight out of Small World with like little dolls and stuff like that, little scenes. But the whole premise is Donald Duck is missing and his other caballeros are looking for him. And so there's like a parrot and a rooster. I don't know, y'all. I don't know these characters. I recognize them from my childhood, but I don't know their names. But it's kind of like a tour of Mexico, and it highlights some of the really cool touristy things in the country, and in Mexico throughout the ride, while also doing, you're looking for Donald Duck, who's, getting himself into trouble. And so it's just this really gentle boat ride. And one of the first parts of the boat ride is riding through a scene where people are eating. So if you look to the right, you can see all these people eating at the Mexican restaurant inside of the Mexican Pavilion. But it's really cool because they make it look like you're actually outside. So those diners, it feels like it's night, it's dark. They have trees and they have water and they have like a night sky. They have stars. And then, so you're kind of in this, it feels like you're outside. They have a lot of cool things. They have I think like a volcano in the distance kind of going off and rumbling. Like, it's really, really cool. And my little son, Noel, my little 2-year-old, he loved it. And so it's usually kind of I'm not going to say boring ride because I like it, but it's usually one that, once you do it, you don't have to do it again. But Noel really liked it so much, and the rest of the people weren't back yet. So we ended up riding this thing 3 times back to back to back. And since the line usually when we go is never too long, there really isn't a line. Like every time we go, there's hardly anyone in there. So I felt comfortable enough just to ask if we could just stay on. Like, we were at the front of the boat. I was like, can we just stay on? And he was like, yeah. And each time we went, can we just stay on again? Yeah. And we picked up a few people each time and just kept going, and we had a great time. I then took my girls over to Test Track, and we were able to go to Test Track. And this is more of a thrill ride, a car ride. I think we've talked about it before. And I may have mentioned at the beginning of a trip that we did this a few times. And I can't remember if it was this time or another time before, but when you go to Test Track, you get to design your own car and you get to test it against other people's fictional cars. I mean, you don't actually ride in your fictional car. It's all fake, but your stats, you get to, is yours aerodynamic? Is it a gas guzzler? Is it more energy efficient for the environment? You get rated on all these different things. Horsepower, speed, stuff like that. You get rated and you get to design its color and the way it looks. So it's really fun while you're waiting in line to do that. And the girls they crack up. They love it. So we went on it once, and I think our car may have won. And then also, I don't really know how we got this lucky, but as we were exiting off the ride, I don't know, maybe we looked happy. It was towards the end of the night. There was a lady who was like, hey, y'all want to go again? And we were like, yeah. We were walking towards the exit. She was like, okay, just get in that line and go up the stairs. I was like, okay. So we did. And we got to ride again, like immediately. We didn't have to build our car again. We actually used the same car that was already on our Magic Band that we had just built. So she let us go twice in a row, y'all. And that was so much fun. We just laughed and laughed, and the kids love it. I really like Test Track. It's one of my favorites. Then I think it was about time to go. I think we hit Frozen at the very end. My husband, I think, had taken my son on Frozen, and then we were able to jump in line at the very end. and do the ride. Now, I'd never actually been in the regular standby line for Frozen. I've always gone in the Fast Pass line. And if you go in the regular line, you get to go through, there's a few extra little things you get to see, which is just cool. And I'm not going to ruin it for you. So we did Frozen, and that was nice. As we were walking out, I was able to catch the last little bit of Epcot. Is it Epcot Ever After? I don't know. It's Epcot Forever. I don't know. It's whatever Epcot's doing right now with their fireworks show, which is fun. It's absolutely fun. A lot of lasers, a lot of throwback stuff. There's some jet skis with some kites. So to me, I thought it was fun. I mean, I'm not huge on fireworks shows anyway. Like it's never really been my deal. So it's not as grand of a show as the last one, but it's fun. It people like to look at it. And it was time at this point to get back to the hotel. I don't remember, but I can probably assume that if any of us, for some reason, were just even a little bit hungry, we probably stopped at Ample Hills Creamery on the way back because that's what we seem to do late at night. But we had to get ready because the next morning I say morning, let's going to say late afternoon, we were heading to Hollywood Studios. This was our first chance to really explore Galaxy's Edge as a family. I'd actually snuck over there a few days before when my family was sleeping. But this was the first time the rest of the family was able to check it out. So before we got there, I think we had one fast pass to Alien Swirling Saucers. And the reason why we had a fast pass to Alien Swirling Saucers and not Slinky Dog is because, like I've already told y'all before, I messed up and didn't book our fast passes with enough time to get a Slinky Dog fast pass. But it's okay because we hadn't done Alien Swirling Saucers and we'd already done all the others. And so it was fine. It really wasn't a big deal. So we go to Galaxy's Edge, look around, take a lot of pictures. I mean, the Millennium Falcon and really everything there is just so picture worthy. I mean, it's hard not to be like, oh, let's take a picture here. Let's take a picture here. Let's take a picture here. And then there's all this cool stuff going by. There's stormtroopers like harassing the park guests. And, like Chewbacca's hanging out, working on stuff. Rey's just running around. So you can get some cool pictures with stormtroopers, stuff like that. We decided to go eat at the very new Docking Bay 7. At a place like this, you will have upgraded park food. So rather than just your standard hamburgers and stuff like that, all of your food is going to be just a little bit different, but still pretty tasty. Like instead of chicken nuggets or just like a piece of fried chicken, like your chicken is served like in a square. Like it's a rectangle, like a rectangle of fried chicken, which is really good. It's fun. And like that dish, it was like a kid's dish, that chicken that came with macaroni and cheese and some broccolini, and it was really tasty. There was also some, I don't know, I think they're going to call it like vegetarian meatballs or something like that. It was not a meat-based meatballs, but they were really good, and they were served on top of hummus with some like pita bread or naan bread. We also got some form of like roast beef, and I actually ordered a side of mashed potatoes. Now the mashed potatoes don't come just mashed potatoes. There's like peas and carrots mixed in with it, which is fine with me. It tasted great. I think I had to order the mashed potatoes separate though, which was fine. It was really good. We loved all of our food. We didn't have a problem with it. It served really cute. The docking bay is just really, really cool. We mobile ordered here and we beat a 20-minute line. So even when there's a huge line, even if you haven't mobile ordered before, seriously, instead of you could wait in line, mobile order from the line, and then get to the front of the line before all the people in front of you are to the front of the line, because you've technically just beat them by ordering right then. And so it's just a great way to feel real snooty about yourself and pat yourself on the back. I love it. At this point, I believe my husband went ahead and took my girls on Star Tours, which is a screen-based ride. I've been on it a million times, but for whatever reason, it makes me motion sick, so I try to avoid it. It's a Star Wars themed ride, and I took my son to go to the Disney Junior Dance Party, and it's just a dance party. You go in, and there's Vamp Arena, and Mickey and who else was there? I don't know. Maybe Doc McStuffins. I don't know. I can't even remember these days. I've been to so many of these not Nick Jr. Disney Junior parties. I can't keep it straight. But he loved it, and there's stuff coming down from the sky for him to catch. We actually got there late. Okay, so we had a fast pass to the show, and it's a very specific show. I can't remember what time it was, maybe 1:45, and we missed it. It was like we were 15 minutes late. But they still just we told someone at the front we missed our fast pass. Oh no, we were like 10 minutes late. And they allowed us to go in the back. Someone walked us in, and it was fun. I mean, and I was actually happy because we missed half the show. So that sounds terrible. I was happy because it wasn't like a long show for me. We missed some of it, and we were able to just dance a little bit. And my son was really engaged and watching all the dances, and they really encourage all the kids to dance. Next, we all as a family got together in line because it was time to meet Darth Vader. And I just thought this would be hilarious. My son this day was wearing a Darth Vader sweater, a Darth Vader Christmas sweater, okay? So he was feeling extra cute, extra saucy. And let me just tell y'all, Darth Vader, you know it's a character, okay? You all know it's a character. But he is the most intimidating character you're going to meet. I mean, he comes at you as Darth Vader, and he sounds like Darth Vader, and it's an intimidating experience. I don't know. I'm going to play a little video and see if y'all can hear some of it. It might be hard to hear, but we'll do the best we can.
You will join me. There is loyalty, admirable trait.
Noel,
make sure that it is not misplaced.
Show him your sweater, Noel.
The dark side welcomes
Oh, y'all. Bless his little heart. Noel did not know what to do standing right in front of Darth Vader. Like that was a terrifying moment. It was kind of terrifying for everybody, but we were able to keep it together and get a picture. Vivian had rehearsed trying to use the Force against Darth Vader, but she was quickly shot down when Darth Vader's handler said, "No, no, no. We do not do that. We must show his lordship the utmost respect," or something. So, I mean, he was fully in character with Darth Vader, and it was hilarious. It was a good experience. And I just like walking around that meet and greet section because there's a lot of different Star Wars characters you can meet. One of the next things on the agenda was leaving Hollywood Studios and heading over on the Skyliner just to try the Skyliner out. Now, we were going to try this and get all the way to the Epcot version of the Skyliner. And there we could either walk through Epcot or we could go back to the hotel. And so we took the Skyliner at the Hollywood Studios station and we loved it. It was great. Like everyone else, I prefer the Skyliner cabins that do not have the wrap, like the characters on it. Even though the kids can't wait to get in a character one, it's so much nicer and prettier if you get in one that is clear without a wrap, just windows. Also, if you're motion sick, you get motion sick like me, it's going to be better to be in an unwrapped one as well. We did actually ask for them and they complied. I hear these days they don't necessarily allow that. I think they say if they're really busy, they can't just guarantee they're going to give you one. But so far, every time we've asked, they've let us have an unwrapped one. So it's been fine. One thing we didn't know and we weren't aware of, we heard that you could roll strollers on. However, they did not let us roll our double stroller on. I feel like we could have. I really think it would have fit, but they made us condense it, which I did not know they were going to do. I didn't like it. Hey, we survived. It was easier. It's easier now that my 2-year-old is walking and I could carry him and my big girls can just get out. But, we have lots of stuff in our stroller. We have a lot of stuff underneath. So we weren't really prepared for that, but now we know and we will be prepared ahead of time. It's kind of like if we had to get on a bus. We would just have to collapse everything, which is fine. It's not that big of a hassle. We are just spoiled and lazy, and we like to just stroll right on and stroll right off. So, but it was a great experience. I thought the Skyliner was lovely, and we transferred to a different route once we got to the Caribbean beach area, and it was fun. It's a breeze. It's very well, managed over there, and no problems. It wasn't really scary. It was just a nice view. It's actually kind of weird when you get up there in the Skyliner, you see how close all of these resorts are to each other. Like a lot of these resorts and theme parks, I mean, they are just back to back, like right on each other. They are so close. You don't even realize how close they are. It is incredible how Disney separates them. And when you go to one resort, it almost takes you a whole mile to get to the other resort by it. But that other resort is literally like a step away. You can't just drive to it the quickest way. You have to go in a long, winding path. And so that was really cool. There was only one time on the Skyliner where we had to wait for a second. And I mean, it wasn't very long. It was probably less than 30 seconds to a minute. So it wasn't too scary. But overall, I didn't feel that scared. And I didn't feel too motion sick. I could see, though, how people could get motion sick on there. But I did not. Now, later on that day, I think the kids took a nap and, I think we went to Epcot. I think we went to Epcot and walked around. I think we let the kids go to Mitsukoshi. I can't remember. There's this big store in one of the pavilions. Oh, man, which one? The Japanese pavilion? Yeah, I think it's the Japanese pavilion. And there's just so much stuff to look at, and just the kids love it. And I think I went, finished up some of the cookie stroll thing. I may have already mentioned that, where if you go to 5 different pavilion stops would get 5 different cookies, or then you end up getting, another free cookie at the very end and some milk. It's, kind of like a scavenger hunt, but with cookies. So that was fun. And as we were walking back, I think everyone was taking a nap, and I think I was just taking my time walking back. I ended up going over, they have kind of a display of the future of Epcot, and I went and checked that out, and it was kind of neat. While I was walking back, it was during like a sunset. It was a beautiful sunset. And I know I keep saying this, but that walk from Epcot to the Epcot resorts is beautiful, especially during sunset. Y'all, the Florida sunset with the pinks and the oranges and the blues over that beautiful lake. I mean, it was just amazing. Now, this is the night, though, so after naps, it was time to head to Disney Springs. And this was important to me because I really wanted to check out the Christmas tree trail. I wanted to get a picture with Santa. There's a lot of things I wanted to do at Disney Springs. So, I believe one of the first things we did when we got there was we went and put our name on the list to get into the Christmas tree trail, because you can't just show up and go in. You kind of have to have a reservation to go in. And actually, no, I think I'm getting that confused. I had to go up front and get a reservation for Santa. There it is. I had to get a reservation for taking a picture with Santa, because you can't just go in and take a picture with Santa. You have to have your name on a list. And sometimes, right now, this was December 5th. This was smack dab in a Christmas season. And so the lines get long. And I knew it was going to be, so I put my name on the list first so that we could go eat and then later come back. And sure enough, it was going to be like a 2-hour wait. So one of the first things we did, we put our name on the list. But before that, we walked through, for some reason, my kids want to go to the Harley-Davidson store. And you can get on the motorcycles there, and that's cool. We saw some people walking on stilts, and that was cool. Like, they all look like big Christmas toy soldiers on stilts, I guess. I'm not real sure. We also hopped by the dance party. There's always a dance party, it seems like, at night. Down there by the entrance to the Christmas tree trail, by the old Disney Marketplace area, there's always a dance party going on. And it's just really cute. So we let the kids dance a little bit. Here, I'll play a little bit of music from it.
Can't hear you. You know the words. There it is.
Y'all, these These kids are freaking out. Freaking out.
I'm just gonna say it. You are rich for being frozen. Don't do that.
Kids are dancing like crazy, y'all. It's going crazy. My son is singing. Y'all, and there were like dozens of kids dancing. It was quite the sight to see. That if that sounded loud and chaotic, you just need to be there. It's adorable and it's so much fun. You just dance around with your kids. So at that point, we went to eat at Wolfgang Puck Express, a place we had never tried before, and it wasn't really on the radar. That wasn't a place I had necessarily planned to go to. I knew we wanted to go to Disney Springs, but I really wasn't set on where we were going to eat. I was going to play it by ear. I was going to be pretty flexible with it, and it was a great choice. I'd heard some good things recently from some of my favorite podcasts about how Wolfgang Puck Express is kind of an underrated restaurant, and I think I had the cheese ravioli there, and I remember it being fantastic, and I think I shared with my family and stuff. I can't really remember anything else we ate. All I know is the cheese ravioli was awesome. After we ate, we're still waiting to get on the Christmas tree trail, and all of a sudden there is this strolling piano. Like, it's a motorized piano that is just strolling along Disney Springs with a pianist singing Christmas carols, taking requests. Like, it is hilarious, y'all. It's like if you go to, have you ever been to a piano bar? So imagine a piano bar at Christmas time, only playing Christmas music. Now imagine that piano is it's motorized on wheels. Combine a piano with a motorized scooter, and now you have the the roving piano. And y'all, it was hilarious. So I'm going to try to play some audio from that.
Part, I want to hear some very enthusiastic laughter, okay? Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Ha ha ha! Oh, that's just what I needed.
My son is doing some yoga moves on the ground. All right, y'all get the hint. But this lady's just literally driving her little piano all around Disney Springs, and it was really cute. Really, really cute. So about this time, I believe it was about time to go check, and we'd actually got a text, I think, a few minutes before saying it was time to go meet Santa. I missed the text, didn't see it. I was a little bit worried that we'd missed our opportunity to go meet Santa, because we were like 25 minutes late. And they still let us through, which was very nice of them, and I did not expect them to still honor our reservation. But to be fair, I really didn't hear it. I did not hear that text. So the first thing we did is, it's kind of weird because Santa's at the very back of the Christmas tree trail. And there's so many Christmas trees. All these Christmas trees have themes, like different Disney movie themes. So like there's a Haunted Mansion tree, which is the best one, by the way. There is a Cinderella tree. There is a Beauty and the Beast tree. I mean, all of your favorite Disney movies have a tree. And because Santa was at the very back, I was like, okay, nobody look. Nobody look, because like I don't know. I'm one of those weird people, like I want to really soak it in. I don't want to just look by and be like, oh, that's cool, walk by. Like when I see something, I want to like really give it my full attention. I want it to be a surprise, kind of. So I made everyone just walk all the way back to Santa and to get in line for the little Santa meet and greet, which was cute. And while we're walking, there is like that fake snow blowing all over the kids, and they love it. There's actually a bar area back there. I mean, not like a bar where you sit at, but they are selling booze to the parents. They're selling booze, and I mean, they've got to be making a killing back there, because in the middle of the Christmas tree trail, there's liquor. It was funny. So we had a little meet and greet with Santa, which is great. I videotaped it. The girls got autographs of Santa. It was really cute. And then we went through every single trail. We actually walked right back up to the very front of the Christmas tree trail, and I looked at every single Christmas tree individually and soaked it all in. My kids they liked one or two things out of each tree and then they moved on. But like I was really interested in inspecting it. Actually, I probably could have spent a lot more time, but because of the kids, there is some pressure to hurry up. So I didn't really get to spend as much time as I wanted to. I did make sure I spent enough time at the Haunted Mansion tree because I just think there's so many cool elements. There's these little teeny tiny details and big details, big details, little details. All these trees are decorated just meticulously, and the details are just amazing. And all these little scenes and little pieces and little characters. I mean, it's just so cool. So it was a really good experience, and I'm glad we went. The next thing we did, I think we took a few pictures at some photo op opportunities. I remember, okay, ooh, y'all, I remember this. All right. I put my purse down, like by a sign, and some people took a picture for us. And then I took a picture for them with their camera, and then all of us left. And I'm in this store right by this picture op opportunity, and I realized, oh my gosh, I don't have my purse. Y'all, I freaked out. I told my girls that my girls were with me. I was like, y'all stay in the store. Y'all don't move from this spot. I'll be right back. So I ran out there, which was, not far. And luckily my purse was there, undisturbed. Everything's still in it. Whew. That was so scary because stuff like that, y'all, stuff like this happens. So we looked around. I think I let my kids buy like a keychain for their backpack or something. It was a cute little store. One of our favorite stops at Disney Springs is always Goofy's Candy Co. And I believe we'd already even stopped there once, but it was time to stop there again because everybody needed a treat. And I like to indulge the kids at times. So I think Martha got this huge Maleficent caramel apple. I think Noel got some cotton candy. Vivian, I'm not sure what she got. Maybe a Rice Krispie treat, with M&Ms. I think Jason got a big cookie. And that was our night. We went home. It was a great day. We got a lot done. It was a ton of fun. Now, the next day, we were waking up on December the 6th, and this was a Magic Kingdom day. The first thing I have recorded that we did was we went to Tom Sawyer's Island. I don't think we had too much planned for this day, but it was close to lunchtime. I think we may have already eaten. I can't really remember, but we went over to Tom Sawyer's Island, and this is a part of Magic Kingdom, which is truly, one of the hidden gems of the Magic Kingdom, even though it's just right there. So once you go to Frontierland, past Adventureland, past Liberty Square, when you're by Thunder Mountain Railroad and Splash Mountain, there is this little ferry, this teeny tiny raft ferry, not the big Liberty cruise boat thingy, the river boat. I'm talking like the raft, the ferry, the little bitty raft that gets you over to Tom Sawyer Island. And that's the only way you can get there is through, you can't walk there. You have to go through the ferry. What I like about Tom Sawyer's Island is there's less people over there. So even on a crowded park day, I feel like this is going to be a little bit less crowded. There's not as many people go over there. There are these cool caves and play areas and playgrounds for your kids to explore, wander through. And it's fun for adults. It's kind of dark. It's kind of creepy, some of these caves and caverns that go under the ground. But there's cool things to look at. Like some of the caves will have all these diamonds and gemstones to look at. And some of them have like a little water, like a spring coming down, like a little waterfall. There's an old mill to look at. And have y'all seen that Disney cartoon? I believe it's called The Old Mill. That cartoon where it's like a huge storm and it's going to blow down and everything, and it's like a huge raging storm, and in the old mill there's like this little cogwheel in the middle. What do you call that? It's like keeping the windmill going in the very middle. It's like a cogwheel, I don't know, circle. Y'all, I don't know. It's a gear, like a huge gear with cogs. And in that Old Mill movie, there is this mommy bird in her nest, and she gets real lucky that there is a missing cog or something that doesn't actually smush her and the babies in that cartoon. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Really? Okay, so anyway, but if you go in the old mill, on Tom Sawyer's Island, you see that little scene with there is an actual bird's nest in the big cogwheel. And y'all, I was just looking around like I had won the lottery and found something special. And I'm over here screaming at my husband and my kids, be like, "Oh, there's a bird's nest in the wheel, y'all, just like the old mill." They don't know what I'm talking about. They think I'm crazy. They have no clue what I'm talking about. But it was so cool. It was just like the movie. So I'm gonna have to upload that. I'm gonna make a note right now. Upload Old Mill, Tom Sawyer's Island. Okay. So anyway, there's beyond the old mill, there's also some bridges, these bridges are held up by old barrels in the water, so it's not stable. It's really cool to go across. And plus you get some amazing views from Haunted Mansion that you can't get anywhere else, because it's directly across from the actual front of Haunted Mansion, not just the side where you enter into normally. And there's also this big old frontier fort, has a few, I'm not going to call them animatronics. They're like dummies. Some horses and a sleeping guy. Like, it's a legit fort. It's really cool. There's also a playground there. I mean, there's just so much to explore. Like, it's a very natural place. It's just, it's really nice. Y'all need to check this out. There's also a little eatery over there. I believe it's called Aunt Polly's, but it's only open seasonally and not for the hours aren't very long. But I think it has just kind of, some quick bites, little fast food things. But I hear it's really good. At that point, my son and I went over to Jungle Cruise, which during Christmas season is called the Jingle Cruise. So it is a Christmas-themed overlay throughout the Jungle Cruise all through Christmas time. It's not just something that's special to the Christmas parties. It's like that all the time. So they have a lot of puns. And I believe that was the last thing we did at Magic Kingdom. I think the big kids rode something else, and Noah and I did Jungle Cruise. And at this point, it was time to go check out the Grand Floridian. Now, if you've ever heard kind of a must-do stuff at Christmas time at Disney World, one of the things that seems to be like on everyone's list is to go check out the Grand Floridian, check out the foyer. They have a huge gingerbread house, and you can buy gingerbread. I mean, everyone talks about it. So, sure enough, we went over there. We hopped on the monorail to get over to the Grand Floridian, and it was kind of cool because we got to get out at the resort that we had just stayed at that summer. So it felt like ours. We were a little jealous feeling because we weren't actually staying there this time. We were just visitors, even though we were like, we stayed there this summer. And like Vivian was like, "We stayed here, Mom," loud enough for everyone else to hear. We checked out the beautiful gingerbread house, and sure enough, it is marvelous. It is made with 1,050 pounds of honey, 140 pints of egg whites, 600 pounds of powdered sugar, 700 pounds of chocolate, 800 pounds of flour, 35 pounds of spices, tons of creativity, Disney magic, and pixie dust. That is what it takes to make this huge gingerbread house. It is so big that they have a little shop in the lower level of this gingerbread house. I say lower level because it's an old Victorian gingerbread house that has an upstairs and a downstairs. And it's decorated beautifully for Christmas. I needed to get some gingerbread. I've heard the gingerbread there isn't very great, but I had to get some anyway. So I had to get like a shingle. You can buy like a random gingerbread shingle. I think my kids ended up getting like a I can't remember, like a cake pop thing. And the cake pop was great. It was really big and delicious. My son, I think, actually, instead of a shingle, I think we got a gingerbread Mickey with chocolate covered ears. It was okay. And I think my other daughter got like a chocolate covered cookie or something. So we got our treats, and we went back to listen to the Grand Floridian. They have a string quartet band playing in the lobby at night, and so we went and checked them out, and they played some Christmas songs, but then of course they played Grim Grinning Ghost, which is my favorite. I loved it. They played it again. It just, when you hear some of these songs being played right in front of you on a string quartet, it's not a string quartet. What am I thinking? No, it wasn't string. There were some, it was like a band. It wasn't a quartet, a string quartet. There was some brass playing. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Y'all, there was a band playing, and they were playing Disney songs and Christmas songs and Grim Grinning Ghost. It was delightful. So as we're walking back, I decide, you know what? Riding the monorail takes forever. I would rather just walk back to the Transportation and Ticket Center, because we ended up parking at the TTC, the Transportation Ticket Center, to get to Magic Kingdom earlier. So I did not want to get back on the monorail, go all the way through Magic Kingdom, go all the way through Contemporary, and then just get to the TTC. I said, let's just walk this path towards Polynesian and towards the Transportation Ticket Center. And that was nice. It was a lovely stroll. It was our last night there, and so it was just really cool to look at the Magic Kingdom from that side of the lake. As we're walking, they are doing marshmallows on a bonfire, like a pit, a fire pit, and the marshmallow and roasting marshmallows are free. So we stopped and got a few free roasted marshmallows, which was really cool. We talked a little bit to the staff members. Then we walked the path all the way over to the Polynesian, and the kids got in the beach area. They all got in a hammock and just played for a minute. We didn't let them stay, and then we were like, hey, y'all, this is where we're going to be next time. Now, keep in mind, like, it's already dark. It feels late, but it's really not. At this point, it's only like 6:30, 7. We still haven't even eaten dinner yet. We've been eating junk the whole time, but we decided that, you know what, our last night, we're just going to eat back at the hotel. We're going to eat at Trattoria Al Forno, and that's a place that we'd eaten at before. And so we walked back. I'd made, I think, reservations online for our dinner reservation, which was going to be like, 8:30, 9 o'clock. It was kind of late, but whatever. We're on vacation time. And we had a solid meal there. It was good. I didn't like it as much as I did the time before. I believe the kids, I still had the lasagna, but I think the noodles were a bit overcooked this time. And the kids had a steak, and it was definitely overcooked. It was pretty much charred. However, my husband got the chicken parmesan that came with some noodles, and it was good. I really liked that. Took the kids walking on the boardwalk a little bit after that, and that was it, y'all. That was the last of our Disney trip. I cannot say, it was just amazing to go at Christmas time. If you ever get a chance to go at Christmas time, do go. It's just a fun experience. It's a lot like it normally is, but there's definitely that magic feeling in the air. And we just had such a blast. And it was so neat for us to be there when it wasn't 1,000,000 degrees outside. The weather, y'all, the weather was so amazing. So guys, I am done. That is it. It only took me 2 months to get 40 episodes out about this one trip. I promise y'all, I'm going to try to find a way to make this less exhausting and boring. I need to find a way to spice this up. Hey, if y'all got some tips for me, or if y'all got some constructive criticism, some feedback, or you just want to leave me a great review, go on over to iTunes and leave a review. Connect with me on Facebook at our Facebook page at Roadtrip WDW. I am there. Y'all talk to me. Be my friend. Be my fake friend. Be my internet friend. If you are interested in a trip to Branson or want to know more about planning a Branson vacation, I have a very similar podcast like this one. It's the sister podcast of this, and it's Roadtrip Branson. You can check me out on Facebook there too at Roadtrip Branson. So you guys check me out, keep in touch, and all right, road trippers, that's going to do it. See you real soon.